my gosh, guys, we're back for another video, for another late night chats video. This is my favorite thing that I do on my channel right now. I love a sit down yap session. I am choosing the busiest part of the day to be doing this. I have my first cup of coffee, so I'm gonna be sipping this. Braden's working on his car, so he's gonna be popping in and out of the background. But you know what? I am still calling this meeting. The meeting has been called. And I'm so glad that you guys are here so we can have another late night chats video. I'm just so excited. I wrote down my notes of what I wanted to talk about in today's video, so I hope it resonates. I hope you enjoy. If it doesn't resonate, I just hope you're entertained. There she is. I did my work. Let's talk, bitches. I want to talk about something that has really been on my mind a lot recently. A lesson that I am continuing to learn every step of the way. So I don't exactly have all of the answers, but I want to share my thoughts. And I would love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments as well. So let's make this an interactive meeting. I want to talk about feeling unhappy with your life and the need to be perfect in every scenario. Of course I'm talking about this. Like, look into my eyes. Of course, this only makes sense. Again, just like the last video, I have bullet points, so that just keeps me on track. So we're gonna start with our first bullet point. One thing I've really been struggling with is it seems like my life doesn't seem to measure up to everyone else's. When I was a kid, I embarked on my YouTube journey, as most of us have. And I used to watch funny videos, but as I became a teenager, I started watching a lot of makeup videos. I started watching vlogs, a little bit of fashion videos, nail videos. I loved a nail video, but it quickly turned into me watching that stuff for fun, into me watching it to live my life in a way I was supposed to. Now, as a kid, I was watching this and I was seeing the video and seeing how aesthetic it was and how much effort they put into it, and I was taking that at face value. I wasn't going into the lighting that they had, the editing software that they had, the music that they added that can change the mood of a video, the audio, like all of these things. And even then, YouTube wasn't even as big of a production as it is now. But even then, with the more outdated editing that we used back then, people's lives still looked so different on camera versus the stuff that you just didn't see off camera. And of course I was a teenager, so I was silly a little bit. My frontal lobe was not developed, and I took a lot of things at face value. And instead of watching these videos for entertainment, I started comparing what that person's life looked like on camera versus what my life looked like not on camera. Those are two very different things, if you didn't know. It quickly turned into me feeling like I needed to live my life like every YouTuber. It just seemed like they were having so much fun. They had so many friends. They always looked put together. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I look fucking good right now. I do not look like this all of the time. Yesterday, dandruff, skin peeling, face red, pimples. I did not look like this, but with good lighting, with good mics, a nice shirt, a little tattoo, it can easily be perceived that I look like this a lot of the time, especially when I'm filming. If I'm mostly just showing me like this while I'm filming, it's easy for people to then just assume I'm like this when I'm off camera, but that's not true. I'm not even trying to be relatable. I look like a gremlin. But it's this constant theme, even today as an adult, that my life doesn't measure up, especially now when I look on social media and it seems like every video I see, it's like they had a whole film crew put it together and everyone looks perfect and everyone's having fun, and it's just not realistic. But then something altered in my brain. Once I had this realization, once I made this bullet point, Braden's dad sent me a video of Braden when he was a kid, and it was the cutest video ever of Braden skateboarding. It wasn't anything big. He wasn't doing any big tricks. Just a kid on a skateboard, but you could tell he was having so much fun. And the video was just so vintage feeling, and it made a lot of emotions spiral within me. I started having feelings that I used to have as a kid, that life was really exciting because everything was new, and it's our first time on this planet, and especially when we're a kid, it's like everything is new. Everything is the first experience, and it is so exciting. You don't know what to expect. You don't know what to wear. You don't care what you're wearing. You're just going because you're like, my parents are taking me someplace. This is gonna be awesome. And it made me sad that I don't feel that way about a lot of things now. The curiosity perhaps has left me. The veil of life has been lifted a little bit. Now, I understand when I was a kid, I didn't have to pay bills. That's huge. Not paying bills, oh my God. That will change a bitch. I tell you what, gas in Charlotte, North Carolina is almost $4. I want to vomit. I'm also unemployed. So the fuck? So yeah, there's gonna be differences between obviously me now and me as a kid. Why do those feelings of wonder and excitement and fun have to change so much when I became an adult? And then this made me ask another question. Do I really not like my life? Or is it just not up to the social media standard of what a 20-something-year-old life should look like? I see a lot of girls online my age and younger. And every time I see their videos, it feels like such a disconnect. Like their life looks so much more different than mine. Maybe they're actually having fun in the video, or I don't know. It's just this weird disconnect where my life does not look like that. And I feel really bad about it. I'm like, has everyone else unlocked the code on how to have fun and how to actually enjoy their life? Because part of me also wonders, like, if someone's putting so much effort into making their life look perfect, does that not mean that their life is just not perfect? Crazy, right? That's a therapy realization. It's because I've been going to therapy, clock it right now. So also having that thought is weird. These are all just weird thoughts, you know? In these videos, I never have an answer. I really don't have an answer. My adult brain now knows what I see on social media is not the truth. It's what someone wants you to see, and I understand that. I think it would be weird if we posted all of our dirty laundry online. That would also get really not okay. But this weird idea that we have to post all the perfect moments only on social media also doesn't feel true, because then it makes me feel like when I'm scrolling, if I'm not having that much fun, or if my video doesn't look like that my experience isn't worth being had. And also, why do I focus so much on making the moment look perfect? Braden's skateboarding video is not perfect. He's not doing any tricks that are cool. Sorry, Braden, I love you. The lighting isn't good. The music is crazy. It's on an older phone, but watching that brought a lot of authentic feelings of excitement and wonder back into me versus a lot of other videos that I watch online that are very curated. It just puts me into a comparison mode. And then it does make me think maybe my life is fine, but it's not up to the social media standard of what a lot of other people want to see. My hot take is I think more people would like to see real videos, but that's just not where we're at right now. And posting content that is more authentic and truthful, when it doesn't get the attention that you hope it gets, so maybe you can turn it into a living, into a career, you start thinking maybe you're living your life wrong and that everyone else was right. And I don't think that's true either. I feel like this is kind of getting into also being a creator, and there's so many other questions popping up in my brain, so I'm gonna try to stay on track, because that could be a separate video of being creative and making your own videos as well while trying to still follow trends to get traction. That's a good video. I'm copywriting that. We're gonna just go ahead and transition into my next bullet point. This also goes hand in hand, but my constant need to be perfect. Now, it's already crazy because I can't be perfect. I feel like social media and how influencers are, they've almost become God. I'm gonna try not to go on a tangent because this could go to a whole separate video as well. But cancel culture, I think it's the most toxic, disappointing thing. This is gonna sound harsh, but I feel like a lot of people that do follow cancel culture are just sheep. They do not think for themselves. Some people, some things that have been canceled, yeah, I understand. And I think we should all be on the wagon together when it comes to taking rights away from people, to putting other people down for their body, gay rights, trans rights, women's rights. That doesn't even need to be said. Like, if you don't agree with that stuff, therapy can be an option for you. With like little things we see on social media and cancel culture and it destroying someone's life and career, that's where it's so scary to me. And it makes it seem like these influencers or these people that have status online, that they're perfect and that because they have all these followers and likes backing them that they must have some sort of validation in how they're living their life. They must be put on a pedestal because so many people are obviously agreeing with them. Like, obviously, they're doing something right that I'm not. But that's also not true. More likes should not equal that that person is more right in how they live their life and their ideas. It just means they have more followers, and sometimes they bought them. Some people are starting podcasts and they're talking more about the human experience, about mental health, about just all different genres, about what it means to be human, and they're becoming more open about them trying to not be perfect and them just trying to be themselves. But even those videos seem so effortless. That's why I love, and I'm not putting myself on a pedestal when I say this either. That's why I love doing a video in this format because yeah, I mean, I have some lighting set up and I have a mic. And I did get ready today because me and Brayden have a date night tonight. So you know what? Maybe I'm just a hypocrite. I love doing videos like this, filming on my laptop and not a fancy camera, because when I'm watching videos like this, it feels more authentic versus other podcasts I listen to. Don't get me wrong, I love a good podcast. I love a good mic. So I still listen to them, but it still seems so effortless when they're talking about their mental health, you know? And then they go into, well, I used to think this way and now I think this way, and I am just so at peace. Where the wires get crossed in my brain is I need to stop thinking that they will forever be at peace. Now, I would love for everyone to be at peace all the time. I want everyone to be happy. I want all the positive energy to everyone all the time. But that's just not life. And I think in times when I really struggle with my mental health or things that are going on in my life, when I see people effortlessly talking about their mental health and their makeup is done and they look good and the title is they had a glow up and now they look good. I mean, to me, those are just still so outward appearance based. You don't see again what goes on behind the camera when the cameras are turned off. There's certain podcasts I listen to with people that I really feel like do dive into mental health and are very honest about it, and they're very transparent, and they keep stating like, I'm an ever-growing, ever-changing human. Today I could be fine, tomorrow we don't know. But I've had to stray away from the podcast where everything is still very curated. It's still just an aesthetic podcast at the end of the day. Then they have the money to make it look beautiful. And I feel like that's why it can get a lot of views. And then people think, oh, well, they're living their life better because they have all this fancy equipment. They have all of these listeners. Like, clearly they're doing something right, but that doesn't mean it's always true. Now, this is also biased because this is just all through my perception. I have wounds as a human, childhood wounds, where it warps my perception of life. So this is just coming through my filter. To someone else, they could just be like, it's just good quality shit and I like listening to it. That's your own vice. But then to make it more about myself, my question to myself was, after all of these thoughts, again, why do I think things need to look perfect in order to be perfect so then I can feel happy? See, that goes back to my first bullet point. My life doesn't seem to measure up to anyone. This idea that I'm not having a good time, the trip did not happen unless I took a hot bikini pic. But why do I think perfect plus perfect equals happy? This is why I'm in therapy, y'all. This is why you're finding it out today. My final question for this bullet point. Why is my definition of happy based on appearance? These are my final discoveries after going through this entire whirlwind of a video. I need to focus on learning and experiencing in life. I do not need to be focusing on just my appearance. Now, in my Instagram bio, it does say be hot and kind. At one point, I think it just said, I just want to be hot or something like that. And like, yes, but you know what? Looks are not everything. Looking good while you're doing something is not everything. And if I'm focusing more on the experience and what I'm learning and what I'm seeing, I'm just gaining so much as a human. How much I miss when I'm focused on what's going on in here is crazy. It just takes away the entire moment. I also need to start asking myself more questions on if I like my life, not if I like other people's life. I will never know the full extent of another person's life. Even Brayden, my partner, I know the ins and outs, sure, but I don't know every single thing that goes on in his head. I don't know every single feeling he experiences. I don't know how those feelings feel in his body. So there's still a moment where I know this person in and out, but I don't know every single thing. Even if he's describing it to me, I'm going to be filtering it through what I think it would feel like, the thought process I would have. So why am I giving so much power to these random people on the internet saying like their video is truth because it looks perfect and they look good and they have a fat ass, and if they have all those qualifications, I should listen to them, and obviously they know something I don't. I also want to stop striving to only feel happy, because happiness will come when I stop putting pressure on it. When I was a kid and having fun and doing new activities, sure, I had some thoughts of like, this is going to be so much fun, but I wasn't sitting there thinking, are you having fun? This is fun, right? You're having fun, you're experiencing the emotion of fun. And because I was doing the activity and focusing on the activity, focusing on learning and experiencing, I was in turn having fun. Crazy. I haven't even finished all my coffee yet, y'all. If I've learned anything in this life so far, the more I put pressure on shit, the more shit explodes, and it doesn't work. I really want to grab onto shit and control things that I cannot control, and then I'll stress that I can't control them. Instead, I am learning to just let life and deal with what happens, because that's all I can do. I can't control what happens, but I can somewhat control how I'm going to respond to situations, or how my perspective can shift after a certain chapter in my life. I also want to start consuming content that feels real to me. If you didn't see me get amped up enough about the content that I see constantly on my For You page of just people that really don't resonate with me, it's not the type of content that I'm receptive to seeing right now. I want to consume content that feels real to me. And through that, I'll feel more empowered and creative, and I'll find my community instead of constantly comparing myself to the life of others when our life does not look similar at all. We don't even look similar. We're just very different people, and that's okay. That doesn't mean they're living their life wrong or right. Same goes to me. They're just living their life. I was also listening to this podcast with Mel Robbins, and they were talking about habitual habits. And what came up in the podcast was you kind of get used to the good things in your life and they become less shiny. I remember before I had moved to Charlotte, I wanted an apartment like this. I wanted to live in a city. I wanted to be dressing like this. I wanted to have the equipment like this. I wanted to be doing the workout classes that I'm doing right now, because I just didn't have the opportunity to do that where I was in Montana. I got everything I wanted, and I am still unhappy. Mostly because all of those things that I had just listed are all external things. I didn't turn towards myself. I didn't choose myself. I chose everything outside of myself, which is always going to make me unhappy. And it's always going to make me keep reiterating that habit of I'm not enough, I'm not measuring up, and comparing myself to every other bitch on this planet. My life is very good and wholesome. I have an amazing partner. I have the cutest fucking cat who acts like a dog. I have a leopard gecko. I have people in my life that care and love for me, and I care and love for them, and we're all there for each other, and that is beautiful. And there's a lot of people that don't have that yet. I am so grateful, and I wanted that so long ago, and now that I have it, it's become less shiny, so then I think it's less meaningful, but it's not. And I don't want to be the person that doesn't realize the good things they have until they're taken away. My final thought through this whole godforsaken video, something that I learned in therapy: reframing my thoughts. I feel like my life doesn't measure up to other people because I feel like other people always have it right, and I just constantly get it wrong. My reframe: I'm just learning and experiencing. I constantly feel like I need to be perfect in every area of my life, and if I fuck up, I'm a fuck up. My reframe: I am just a human being learning and experiencing in this life, and that is enough. Take everything else away, and that is enough. So many things already. Every time I do one of these videos, I'm like, no, wait, I realized more. I'm gonna have to write this down in my journal. I loved this video. I loved everything we chit-chatted about, even though I kind of ran in circles for a bit, I understand. But doing videos like this, when I'm going through my notes and my bullet points, I realize this is a lot of tension that I'm kind of holding in my body, and the expectations I have on myself and life is a lot. So I love kind of working through this on the internet, as scary as it is, because it just helps me process these emotions a little bit further than I typically would just by myself. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm so happy you tuned in. If nothing resonated, that's totally fine. I hope you got some entertainment out of it. I think we should all be kinder to ourselves. I think we should all understand that we're just learning human beings. We don't need to look a certain way. We don't need to dress a certain way. We don't have to follow all the trends. We can really just make our own universe, and that is enough. Can't wait to do another late night chats. I love this format. And I will just see you guys in the next late night chats with Jade Ware.